Do you feel that the world you grew up with no longer exists? That has been erased from time itself? From technology to the way people talk? Just everything across the board, I know you felt it. No, but seriously, everything is like extremely foreign. It's just happened over such a long period of time that you kind of don't really think about it unless you stop and have a thinky. And lo and behold, I've actually been thinking about this quite a lot lately. And there's a term for it. It's called future shock.
So future shock is the idea that technology and society are changing so fast that people can't keep up mentally. The music, technology, the way people even talk, everything changed so fast that one day you just sort of clicked and you felt out of place in your own life. And the crazy part is almost everyone feels it. We just never had a name for it. Basically, too much change too fast is psychologically damaging to humans even if on the subconscious level. We're just not built to handle that speed of transformation.
Because during your informative years, whatever that was special to you, no matter what it is, kind of gets embedded in your brain forever. As in, you'll always refer to like, what is wealth, what is success, and yeah, you'll go, oh, that's a 2007 Audi R8, and you go, no, that's not how it works. That's an old car now, and there is now, the new one, and you go, that one. If you presented me a 2007 Audi R8 and a 2026 Audi R8. Doesn't matter that it's this year, just that it's new. It's clearly better, it's more advanced in every way. But I value the 2007 one more. Being in Iron Man 1, it was the car that Tony Stark had. When you're a kid, you're in this sand pit and you're learning about how it works, the rules that are in it, and your surroundings. You hit about age 20, and now that you're an adult and you've finally taken in all that information, in that time, you've probably had a few minor changes, but really the world that you once knew is pretty much completely gone. Future shock's only getting worse. We used to define things in decades. It was the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, but that's happening way quicker now. It is now, I'm going to say 2 to 5 years, maybe not even that. Nothing has a shelf life, everything moves so quickly. The way things were when you were a kid, because you're a kid, you don't get to participate in that world. So for me, it was growing up in the 2010s or whatever, teenage years, and it was a very optimistic era. You didn't realize at the time, but, all the music was, yes, it's Friday night, we're going to party. As reckless and retarded as the music genres were, all the music was very uplifting. It's all, we're going to work through the week, and when comes Friday, we're going to spend our hard-earned money. And then we're going to go back to work on Monday and do it all again. Hey, through my childhood, I'm listening to music in the mainstream that was very optimistic. It was all about celebration, even though there's nothing to celebrate. It's drinking and partying, being with friends. And then I get the keys to adulthood and it's just like, oh, everything's bleak. But everyone's experienced that. But it's just very weird to go from a childhood that's setting you up, this is how the world works. You're a kid and here's adulthood. And he goes, and now everything's different. Yeah. Alright, fuck off. And in a way, I can relate this to my dad. Dad's born in 58, and he likes the Honda CB750. CB750 was the first ever bike that was crowned a super bike. It was an inline four, which at the time, I don't think existed. Or at least not to this level. It just changed the world forever. So to him, the CB750 is like the greatest bike of all time. So for him, it's very special. And then, he turns to me and says, what do you think? I don't think much of it. As in, it's cool, it's vintage. But I don't feel that same reaction because from when I was born, from the 2000s, an inline four motorcycle was just the default. You think motorcycle, you think inline four. In my mind. As in, that was the era of probably Gixxers, sports bikes, Kawasaki Ninja, like, it was just inline fours. It was just the thing. There are items that exist in the world that have no value. They're obsolete, they've been killed off, they're just not important to have around anymore. And you're doing someone else a favor by taking them. But to you, they are very special. Like to me, that was the iPhone 4S. Everyone had one. I didn't. I've got myself an iPhone 16, yet I long for a 4S white edition. Shit that doesn't make sense. And that can shoot 4K 120 FPS. Doesn't make sense, but it's ingrained into your noggin. And that isn't just for me. A lot of people have this on different varying levels. Because in your developing years, you spent so much time with those things, or it was very impressionable at the time. I think it's similar to people who would buy an older car that was once, $100,000 and they're almost LARPing as wealthy back in that time period. That'd be like if you bought an 80s Mercedes, which it's not worth near what it was new, but now you get to experience it later. This stuff runs deep. And so the things that were exciting to us in our youth kind of get locked in there forever and don't update. So your concept of what a supercar looks like or what the fastest bike in the world is at the time, that doesn't really update. Retro game consoles in general, just a physical thing. You spend most of your childhood with them, you spend thousands of hours with them, and yet as an adult, I haven't laid eyes on one in over 10 years. I just haven't pulled it out, haven't really messed with it. You know, they don't take up that much space. But if I wanted to play the Xbox or PlayStation, really I can just use an emulator. And an emulator is going to work completely fine. And the perks with an emulator is there's no, you know, the loading times are going to be significantly less because the hardware is so much newer on a computer. I'll have access to a wider library than I could ever dream of. Hey, maybe it's nice to interact with the physical hardware, you know, the little lights on it, have the disc tray pop out, put in a disc and watch it not boot up because they're all scratched, but I'll never get rid of the consoles. There's something comforting in knowing that a piece of your childhood or your memory once existed. Like, it's physical, you can touch it, it's there. It's that subconscious little thing. It's that subconscious part of you that's sort of at unease with your surroundings constantly changing so rapidly that, like, where is your brain meant to anchor you? And usually it'll do it in your youth. Music, you know, entertainment. Yeah, there's a subconscious sort of unease, but everyone's just so used to it and there's so much new things being thrown in your face, you kind of forget that the old stuff's just sort of going away with the tide. Now that I think about it, that's kind of what Lego is. Lego is not what it used to be. They got their target demographic audience, they hooked them as children, and as they got older, they just provided them with more expensive sets to build. Because, you know, a child's not buying a $1,000 Lego piece. It's the child from way back that's now an adult that still wants his fix. Now, that's just smart. Imagine the enabling you would have from having a parent that's into Lego as much as the kid. Actually, now that I think about it, what kid's actually into Lego anymore? Let me know in the comment. Do you know of any child that likes Lego? Because I think bloody Subway Surfers is a little bit too engaging. Is Subway Surfers even a thing anymore? I don't know. When I last played iPhone games, it was Jetpack Joyride, Temple Run, Subway Surfers. And TrueScape. And this is, speaking from my personal experience, is I think that the world's changing so fast and so rapidly that a lot of us are subconsciously just holding on to little pieces from our past just to sort of stay grounded. I've mentally opted out of that stuff, being there. I don't need to understand new sayings and whatnot. And that's probably a defense mechanism that's like, I don't need to know this. I want to stick with what I know. I think whether it's an old console or just something from your childhood that's significant, even something that you couldn't get as a child that you could get now that has no value, but you want it just for the sake of having it, I don't think I see a harm in that. And it could be seen as childish, legitimately, which it is. And I'm not endorsing any overindulgence. You're not meant to spend like significant amounts of money on it. Maybe over time, but you know, just again, depends on who you are. But those main things that you felt were important as a kid that now have no value, but you think they're good, go get them. See what it does for you. That's my experiment to you. See what it does for you. Maybe it does nothing, and I'm schizophrenic. But if it so pleases you, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. That'd be great. It's nice to know feedback, you know. It's nice to put something out and then see something come back and you go, hey, that meant something. Isn't that good? If you didn't, put it in the comments. Write something really mean and nasty I can read late at night, you know. Fuck.